Well, good afternoon. I'm Rick Dancer. This is Get Real with Rick Dancer, and I want to introduce you to Pete Runnels, Judge Pete Runnels from Harney County. And the judge and I have talked already because I'm really into honoring positions. If you're good enough to get to be a judge, you should be honored. But he said I don't have to call him Your Honor. So we're just going to call him Pete and talk a little bit about Pete and Harney County. Do this for me, Pete. Explain to people what's going on in Harney County. You don't have one case at all.
Correct. We're one of 5 counties left that have not had a confirmed case of COVID-19. The other counties, all on the east side: Gillum, Wheeler, us, Baker, and Lake. And we've abided by the orders of the governor. We've shuttered, we've closed businesses, we've done the takeout at the restaurants, and we've honored the extensions. People thought 2 weeks, and we can live with that. Well, now we're at 4 and 5 weeks, and it's getting tougher and tougher. And the community is ready to go back to work. The community is ready to, and not just to drop all safeguards. I mean, they want to go back to work. They want to keep have things implemented, more safety protocols. Say if you're in a restaurant, you would sit in every other booth, or different things like that. One store we have here has allowed only 10 people in their store, 1 per car, no families, no browsing. Just come in and get what you need, go out. At least, it's a hardware ag store. People can take care of their needs at home, whether it be, it's calving season. Simple, if you're doing some remodeling at your home because you can't do anything else right now, it works. And we need to get back to work. Our community is as you say, an old saying, the natives are getting restless. And
really restless, because you've had town meetings with people coming together, in physical distancing kind of thing, but people are, I don't know, they're ready to just go back to work and get this done. And you guys have kind of set a May 1st deadline is what you would like to do. Kind of, right. You wrote a letter to the governor and you said, what did you say to the governor?
So in this letter, it's a result of the community coming forward to me and, what can we do? What can we do? So we had a little impromptu meeting. I had 9 letters of support behind my letter. And it's stating that some of the obvious to us, but maybe not obvious to others, that it's critical. It's to the critical point. Small shops, boutiques, they order their products last fall, last summer. Things are arriving. They have to pay for them. They need to turn them. Restaurants are really in dire need to be open. Bars, a lot of bars to serve food, same thing. They need to open. They're willing to take protocols to sit in every other booth, or to track people coming in with a login. So if there is a case and an outbreak, you can track a person.
Because you guys have set up, you've really what I loved about the letter and enjoyed about it was you've actually come up with a plan.
Right.
Which is more than I've seen come out of Salem. Is you're saying, let's separate people. I said that, you didn't. You're separate, like have people come into bar stools and you have to be at, maybe it's every 2 bar stools, or at a table, every other table, that kind of thing. A hairdresser, maybe one person comes in and, only one person in the store at the same time. But you think you guys would be a great pilot place to try this?
We would love to be a pilot area. And if some protocols could be set down, taking in our suggestions, modify them as a need by the Oregon Health Authority, we would love to be a pilot area for the state and try to get back some resemblance of normal. And we all know it's going to be a new normal, and especially until there's a vaccine found. And we're not trying to shun the seriousness or the, it could be me tomorrow that gets a confirmed case. But we all take that risk, but we have to learn to live with it and cope with this in the future.
Is that kind of what you feel like, is that it's this is going to be here for a while, and your community is really frustrated. I think people here are frustrated as well, but you guys are really, really having some frustration over there.
Correct. We've, especially where there's no confirmed cases, we've done about 45 tests total. It's about per average per capita, about on par with the state. And you have to show 2 or 3 of the symptoms before they will test you. Because of the shortage of tests, the shortage of PPE equipment, and all that plays into the picture. But we live in a nice, wide open area where social distancing is pretty common out here.
Right. It's kind of a natural thing. But people want to get back to doing, so I think some people think, I was on a broadcast the other day and people think, well, ranchers and stuff like that, they can still do their job. But the problem is, who's going to buy their product?
Exactly. At
At some point, it catches up with you, right?
Catches up with everybody. We all seen in the news. They're dumping milk. They're over in Malheur County. Folks with onions. There's onions going to waste because they're not selling to the restaurants. So they're dumping stuff. It's not. Economy's crippled in Harney County. Economy's crippled statewide and nationwide, all for reasons of the stay-at-home orders.
So what other kind of things did you offer the governor in this proposal? And you're going through your state legislators, through your other folks who are, the proper channels. And when do you expect to hear anything back?
That's a good question. I've asked for a phone call from the governor just to discuss it. We're not trying to, we do appreciate what she's done and helping, lower the curve, but it's time to start planning to move on, and that's where I'd like to have a nice conversation with the governor. I've met her several times, get along fine. Just I'd like to point out the points in the letter. We made 6 points. I think I've mentioned most of them. I don't have the letter in front of me. It's just common sense. It's some common sense moves to keep everybody safe, both the cashier and the customer.
Now, Pete, that some would tell you that in Western Oregon, there's no such thing as common sense. Sense isn't common anymore.
Yeah.
I have Sid Lykin, who just, I don't know, can you see those things on there? He just said, you have the right person. Judge Reynolds is a terrific leader.
Thank you, Sid. Yeah, I know Sid.
Do you think, let's see, hold on, we got another comment. The question is, has she called you yet?
No, not at this point.
I know that how many people there in Harney County, because we were just out there recently, there's like 7,000. I think there's as many people in the entire, Harney County is the biggest county in Oregon.
Correct.
And you have about the same number of people in the entire county that we have in the town of Creswell, Oregon. It's about 7,800 or something like that.
Yep, about 7,300.
So are people feeling like, come on? I mean, is that fair?
That's fair. It's like, we like, again, I say no cases. We've abided by the rules. Come on, it's time. It's time to have a plan. It's time to move forward. We're really pushing the May 1st date. And in fairness, my public health department agrees with the spirit of the letter that was written. They are still cautious, though, that it may be too soon. I know they're following Center of Disease Control's guidelines. It goes more around mid-May, and I respect my public health department and their calls, but they respect what I've got to do too, and the business community needs.
So, okay, so I finally got the ability to share this on my other pages. So let me do this really quickly, so that we can get this going here. Hang on just a second.
And while you're doing that, part of the letter talks about the longer people are unemployed or not working, and there's the rise in crime and suicides and all the mental health and all that part that plays in. So many things by this that we need to have a plan.
So you're looking at big picture stuff, thinking, what is this going to do to the the psyche of people.
Correct. Yep. It wears on you.
Do you, I mean, I think a lot of people in rural Oregon feel voiceless.
Yep. Together we can raise that level, and we are trying to. We have an Eastern Oregon Counties Association that's writing a letter and trying to do the same support, and we have a lot of support from our East Side representatives and senators who, I mean, they've been talking about this for 2 or 3 weeks, and one of my purposes of this letter and the letters from my community that came behind it are to help support them in their request to the governor and to the state that, come on, let's go.
What would you, so I guess one of the things that was tough for me as a business person in Eugene is listening to the governor yesterday. And what she said was, I heard no meat. I heard no plan. I heard that she's going to start putting people together to make a task force. And my thought was, well, shouldn't that have happened right after this first happened? Because this is so detrimental to small business. I know it doesn't affect, I don't know who it doesn't affect, but for small business, you know, and what do you guys think?
I agree. And you know, it hit everybody hard. There were some tough decisions at first. I can see the first couple of weeks that, you know, how do we get the word out there? How do we slow people down? How do we take this seriously? But a plan to go back to work should have started weeks ago. And, you know, that, like I said, I'm pushing for May 1st. Do I feel confident it'll happen by May 1st? I'd have to be on the low end of that scale. But we're trying to give a starting point. We're trying to give some ideas, and, you know, they can be modified. We're okay with that. We want to work with the Oregon Health Authority and the governor and whoever we can to make this go.
Ashley Hubbard is Roseburg. Yeah, it's killing small business, she says on there. And then Luke Walsh is a realtor here in town. You're saying Salem doesn't care about the private sector? Move to Texas. Oregon isn't going to change. But you know what's funny, Luke? In rural Oregon, there's a whole different feel about it. Don't you think, Pete?
There is.
People want to do the right thing.
That's all we're trying to do. We just want to do the right thing. Be, you know, responsible for ourselves, and then there's a lot of people out there that, you know, yeah, there's a lot of money coming out of DC to help folks. There's a lot of people out there that don't want that money. They, you know, that's just compounding another problem that the nation's facing. So the people in your county, in Harney County, they don't feel entitled to government funding. But they do feel like they should have the ability to do what they need to do to provide for their family and for safety for this virus. But when you have a county that nothing has shown up and you have no results, then it's probably hard for people to really swallow that and say, no, you're going to keep, you know, doing this. And yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, no, you're right. And that's where, you know, we've all heard the story of crying wolf, and believe me, that's not what I feel. But as it gets extended, folks are kind of leaning that way. But you know, obviously look at New York City and New Orleans and Washington, state of Washington. I mean, it's real, and that's respected and understood out here. But we just have such a light population and room to spread out and breathe that, you know, things are different out here.
Right. So what is the next step? Because what I love when you and I talked yesterday on the phone, I think this is so, this just reminds me of my grandparents and people in Baker, you know, but when I used to, that's, you know, let's get this done, but we need to take another step. And you said to me on the phone, okay, so I want to do this live with you, Rick, because people want to push this on. We want to move this forward. We're not just a little county with 7,800 people or whatever it is who came up with an idea, and now we're going to sit back and wait for somebody to respond. You want some kind of action.
Right. And we've been taught over the years, you know, former Senator Vince. When we come forward with, it's not good just to complain. Come forward with your complaint and a solution to give a starting point to fixing problems. And that's gone a long ways. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're not whining about the situation. We just want to fix the situation. We want support and cooperation and move on.
So what do you say to the people who say, well, if we open this up, and then people want to come out there to get away and, go out and do something or whatever, this could just open a can of worms and blah, 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 blah.
And that was addressed in the letter. That is a risk. It definitely is a risk that you're inviting people in, but this plan could go for a lot of these sides. And the governor did mention that there could be some easement of regulations in regionally. And I would hope the east side is looked at as regionally. Again, we're hoping to be a pilot, but people traveling out here just it goes back to if you're sick, stay home. I mean, people got to be a little responsible too on their end.
So do you think that we as a state have not, or even a nation, have not put enough responsibility on people who, if you are sick or you are susceptible, that you should stay home and do, this is what you should do, but it's putting it on everybody? Is that?
Yeah, there's a percentage of the population that's not going to abide, and that could be detrimental to all of us. We get that. Right.
So you're not, people in Harney County aren't saying physical distancing has not been, I'm not calling it social distancing, Judge, because you and I we're socially connected here, and I will refuse to socially disconnect from my world, but I will physically disconnect. So we found a way to do that. But so they are physically disconnecting in ways that can, but they're just, right now, this is starting to kill business and hurt.
Right. Yeah. So physical spacing in the business world can be followed and can be adhered to, and folks are doing it. I mean, you go in the grocery store, you'll see people come face to face in an aisle, some turn away and go the other way. And it's right. So they're not. It's not just rural Oregon not bucking the system. These are rural Oregonians saying, "Let's innovate and find a way to get us back to work." That's the bottom line right there.
Jennifer Knapp says, curious, counties can create their own ordinances, which can put in place more controls than Governor Brown's executive orders, but not ones that are more lenient. Is that the case?
That's a good question. Executive orders are something we can't, we have to adhere to and follow. Can we put in an ordinance more strict? I'd have to follow up on that one.
Okay. Luke Walsh says, complaints and solutions. Great attitude about that. I had a boss one time, and I love this guy, Alan Beck, and he used to say to people when they'd be griping in the newsroom, you can come in my office when you have a solution, but you can't just come in and gripe. You come in with a solution. Tina Holt says, we read his letter when you posted it, Rick. We live in Curtin and agree with the suggestions. We would love to utilize trails, campsites, and trails as well as eat out. We are both good cooks, but miss date nights for sure. Jason Tyler Randall, what's this mean for restaurants and bars? It wouldn't feel all right going back just yet.
Yeah, that's part of one of the suggestions is, again, Jason may have missed it, every other booth. If you typically have 10 bar stools at a bar, pull back 5 or 6 of them, space the others out. So a lot of bars have booths.
Jason is a bartender here in town. And Jason, what he talked about earlier is maybe like at your bar, you'd only a couple people could sit at the bar. You take out some of the tables, make, every other booth. So make it so that's the way to ease back into it, which is something, at least you're putting that out there. I haven't heard anything from the state on possible ideas or anything. And you guys are working, you were suggesting the other day to get some of the restaurant and business associations involved. We heard she was going to put hairdressers and somebody else on there, but you had some ideas. Can you share those with people? Oh, here's somebody from your county, Judge, real quick. We have 3 businesses in Harney County, went to 0 income for all 3. If nothing changes, we will have to shut 2, if not all of them. We need common sense and open-mindedness in these times. Open-mindedness would be a really good one to underline. And we need small business to survive.
Exactly. Thank you, Sam. The governor talked about a task force on reopening and mentioned some of the businesses that could be on it. The counties were not in that, and then she might have just hit some highlights, but counties, I think, need to be in that picture, whether it be through the Association of Oregon Counties or who I volunteered to sit there if there's a spot, and would just want to help the whole, not just us, want to help the whole east side, the whole state.
Yeah, I think you guys could set Lola Johnson. Love you, Lola. She's with her chamber. She is completely agrees with Pete. I know, Lola, this has to be difficult on tourism and people coming to your area, which is what we came there for to help you with. And I already told Pete, if you guys get this pilot project, I want to be over there, not to talk about tourism, to talk about how this works and how you guys do it. See, I think here's somebody, Angel. Innovate, my son's restaurant, is doing it, curbside delivery with Slam. They're doing that, Angel. That's what you guys have been doing over there, right?
Yep, and that's good. There have been some remarkable thoughts into the curbside service, or some restaurants are just having certain specials at night, or on Sunday they have a big special, and the community's been great in following them and promoting them. And I agree with what she said there. There's been some really neat ideas.
Yeah, Tammy's got an idea for you. Here's Brian. Brian is from Montana. Great ideas, putting the responsibility back to people to self-regulate, but also allowing businesses to reopen. But Brian, that's a Montana value. It's an Eastern Oregon value, but it's not really something in Western Oregon much anymore, in my own humble opinion. So if the governor got a hold of you and said, okay, we're in, Pete, we want to do this the first week of March or of May, what do you guys do?
I guarantee there'd be some type of meeting out here with myself, my public health department, physically distancing ourselves in that meeting, but talking it out, figuring it out, and having everybody on the same page. And we go, and we continue to talk and suggest and share with what may be working in one and not working in another business.
What could be really powerful for you guys too is that because you're smaller and you could get, and our area is so big, you can't get complete buy-in. Everybody has to disagree with something. It's like everybody has some axe to grind, it feels like. You guys could go, okay, if we want this to work, we're on the pilot project. We're sitting out here, we're, kind of our pants are down. Everybody's watching us right here. So we got to work together, and you guys could really show us how this works. You know what I mean?
Yep. Harney County has been a leader in a lot of things, and we would be glad to lead out of this.
So what are your people in rural Oregon? What do you need?
Right. Support. Support for a plan, encouragement to be a pilot. And then when things are over, we'd love to see you all come back out.
I think the other thing that I was kind of hinting at is the same thing I hear over and over from people here. We need hope.
Hope is a good one. Yeah, we need to see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Right. And see, for me, I think you could be that light in the tunnel. If personally, for me, if I knew that you were doing this, that there was some light at this tunnel, that, oh my God, they're trying this in Harney County. And so maybe this will work. And we're all going to be rooting for you and praying for you and, hoping this happens. Because if you can open that door, then maybe the rest of us can come through that door as well. You know what I mean? Not to lay it all on you, but if you could seriously, I trust rural Oregon so much. I really do. Jennifer has a question here. Really, I have mixed feelings because if each county, state has their own rules, then the virus can spread. But also I feel for the small business owners. I used to be one, and feel that all voices should be heard and find the best solutions. Jennifer, Pete, I think we're all in that boat.
That's a fair comment.
I don't want the disease to spread, but I think tell me if this is your feeling. And I know I could get myself in a little hot water with this, but that's just where I live, is I feel like I want the disease to get under control. I'm seeing the numbers in Oregon, and then people can bring in all their other facts. But then I'm seeing this kind of hidden virus that's killing small business, and it feels like because I'm biased because I am a small business, and it's killing mine, and the people, all my customers that I work for. And I feel like we're not getting paid attention. We become, well, you're against saving lives. No, I'm trying to save other lives in a different way. But it's people are so afraid that they're forgetting there's this whole other, I think there's a three-prong to this, if I can just jump in here and see what you think. I think there's mental health issues that are going to rise, and they're going to come up, and we're going to see problems happen. There's the virus itself, and then there's the economic virus. And I feel like right now we're in such a fear mode that nobody's paying attention to the other two. At least the governor, what I will give her great credit for, is to not make the restrictions so tight that people can't go out and get out of their homes and do things. But there's a lot of people who feel like nobody should be out doing anything, running or doing anything like that. And that's just not, I don't think that's healthy. And it's not, and obviously the governor left room for that to happen. But it feels like now we need those other two things to be considered in the equation now, since we're seeing the numbers aren't over the top.
Right, and I agree with that. We, in her order, there was certain businesses called out that had to close. We have other businesses that could stay open according to that order, but the fear is out there so much that people just aren't out on the streets. They're not out shopping, so it plays into the other 2 points there that you're talking about, and it's tough.
Pete, I gotta thank you because Edgar Boo on here just said the same thing. So agree. I'm glad you are talking about all these things. You, by your letter and your county's guts, and your 2 county commissioners who signed that letter with you, and the community of Burns and the community of Harney County, this is pretty cool. You're actually giving voice to tens of thousands of people who have felt like we can't say anything because we're going to be the bad guy. So you guys have given, where we are always thinking you're voiceless, you actually had the voice that gave us the voice.
Hopefully our voice gave hope.
Yeah, you have. I think you've given hope to a lot of people. And Jeanette says, so many people think that non-essential businesses should be closed, but that's the only thing she did right. Oh, well, okay. Not close everything down. Still, our business is suffering. Yeah, I think everybody is suffering. And then Angel says, healthcare, finances, and home front all need dramatic change. We've been forced. There will be a paradigm shift, and businesses have to accommodate. I don't think, Angel, anybody's saying they don't want to accommodate. I just think if you don't own a small business, there's that saying about walking in a man's moccasins or a woman's moccasins and her own shoes. And I think there's a lot of people who aren't paying attention to the fact that a lot of folks are still being paid. Public employees, people like that are still being paid. But then there's this whole segment of the population, and we have zero. I had a woman tell me I was being entitled because I'm applying for the PPP funds. And, you feel entitled for those funds. Well, I looked online, and her husband's a contractor and he's working right now. It's really easy to to do that when somebody else is not.
Sure.
Jeanette, so many people think that that was you. Non-essential businesses should be closed. Oh, I already got you there. Okay, here's Jennifer again. We need both a solid plan to get back to life and a solid plan to contain the virus. Amen. Numbers may not be over the top because of the executive orders. However, if virus is here to stay, and some scientists believe we need a long-term plan, and think your plan is a great start. So Pete, she sees your plan, and Jennifer's an awesome lady. She deals with adrenal inefficiency, and a lot of adrenal problems in her family. I'm sorry, I'm all kind of excited in here, but so her family's her daughter's at high risk to get something like this, and it would kill her. So but she's very generous because she's a balanced person. She can look at both sides of this thing. We're going to wrap this up in a second here because we've been on here for a half hour. Our own small business in Eugene, we are essential, but it's killing us as well. So, Pete, what can we do as the West? I think we already know what you did as the East to help us. So what can we do as the West to help you?
Well, you already have. that Facebook post we put out, or the letter we put out on Facebook, has been shared now, or we've seen by over 16,000 people. We only know there's 7,000 in Harney County. So it got to your side, and it's still being shared, and that's appreciated. It helps get the word out. And one thing I was going to say is that out here, every business is essential due to our location. We're 2 hours from everything, and we need to get going. We need to open up.
That's a thing I think people don't understand if they don't live in rural, like especially your rural Oregon, because you got Burns, and then it's French Glen. I mean, everything is really far away.
We like to refer to it as frontier. There's rural on the west side, 25 miles out of Eugene or Salem, considered rural. I agree. I get that. We're in a different category, and I like to say it's frontier.
So when you have grocery stores or restaurants that are shut down, or service stuff, it's tough.
Very, very. As Samantha mentioned, one of the 3 businesses in town. She has one she has a bistro as one of her businesses, and the curbside doesn't work for everybody.
So one last thing, there's not many people in rural Oregon who have one job.
That's right.
You know what I mean? That's the thing my wife and I have learned through the PNW Backstories thing that we do. You guys are used to being tough. You're used to, you don't whine. You're used to having 3 jobs, 2 jobs, or doing what you have to do to survive and live. And you don't complain about it. So it's almost like this has taken away that ability to do those. Like this woman who was talking with 3 jobs, 3 businesses to make ends meet, and 2 of them are gone, and the other one may be. You've just when you're used to working hard, and then the government can come in and just shut you down like that. That's tough.
That's very tough. I was a small business owner up to about 3 years ago when I became the county judge, and I feel for all my fellow business owners in town, what they're facing and going through. I know it's been tough for me.
Well, Judge, thank you so much for making this happen. You made my day, and I think you've made a lot of people's day. And I just love what you guys do. And so would you please let us know, keep us informed if there's anything else we can do to kind of push this forward. I will say to my viewers out here, write your legislators. They only have a few over there. We have more than they do. So you write our legislators and say, hey, I saw this Judge Pete on Rick's show, and the plan is up at the top. You take and post that and say, why can't you make this happen? Because again, I'm going to repeat what I said yesterday. When the Constitution says we the people, it doesn't say we the Democrats, or we the Republicans, or we the independents, or we the governor, or we the. It says we the people. So it's up to us to push the agenda, not up to them to tell us what the agenda is. So we need to be able to do that. And here's an idea, and Pete's not pushing it. He's just saying, we want to do this. And so as fellow Oregonians, we could help support that by writing our legislators, representatives and senators, and saying, look at this thing.
Yep. No, thank you. And the virus isn't political. The virus should not be political. The virus is the virus. And it shouldn't matter what side you're on. We got to fix this for everybody and move on.
Right. And if it's going to be around for a while, we need to get to learn how to live around it and with it, and kick its butt.
That's the point of the letter. We understand there's still going to be deaths, and we get that, but we can't hide under a rock. We've got to move forward with life and learn how to live with it, and pray that that it goes underground and a vaccine's found soon enough.
What's the other guy's name? I keep hearing him called Judge. Who is he? That's Judge Pete. He's from Harney County. All right. Judge, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. Please keep in contact with me, because if you get permission to do this, I want to get my behind over there and show what you're doing, because you guys could innovate and change our world.
We hope to. And
thanks, Harney County. You can always rely on rural Oregon. Share this, you guys. That's the other thing you can do. Share this on your Facebook page so other people can hear this conversation. People are coming on. Judge, we support you. Thank you, Judge. They're coming on like that. So yeah, you've made an impact. You guys are going to change us.
Thanks. There's been a lot of support on the Facebook post too. We appreciate it all. Thank you.
Hey, hang tough. Stay safe.
Yep. Okay,
All right.
you too.
See you, Pete. Thank you. Appreciate
Yep.
it.